Hello everyone. Stockholm Syndrome is a psychological response in which hostages or abuse victims develop positive feelings, sympathy, or loyalty toward their captors or abusers, sometimes even defending them. It's named after a 1973 bank robbery in Stockholm, Sweden, where hostages bonded with their captors after being held for 6 days. This video explains the psychology behind.
Friends, picture this. Stockholm, 1973. A bank robbery gone wrong. Hostages taken. Sounds terrifying, right? But what happened next was even more bizarre. Instead of hating their captors, the hostages started developing feelings of sympathy and even loyalty towards them. They even defended their captors after being released. This, my friends, is where the term Stockholm Syndrome was born. Imagine being trapped, fearing for your life. Your captor holds all the cards. But then, they show you a little kindness, a blanket, some food, a kind word. In the midst of terror, this small act feels huge. You cling to it. You start to see them as a protector rather than a threat. The Stockholm bank robbery wasn't an isolated incident. This strange phenomenon has been observed time and again in kidnappings, hostage situations, even abusive relationships. It's a baffling thing, this human ability to empathize with those who harm us. So what's going on here? Why would anyone side with their tormentor? The answer, my friends, lies deep within our primal instincts. You see, when we're faced with a life or death situation, our brains go into survival mode. We become acutely aware of any threat to our safety and instinctively try to mitigate that threat. In a hostage situation, the greatest threat is the captor, so our survival instinct kicks in and tells us, don't anger them, please them, stay alive. We start seeing the world from their perspective, looking for ways to appease them and avoid triggering their anger. This is not about logic, it's about pure, raw survival. Think of it like this. You're lost in the jungle and you stumble upon a tiger. Your instinct wouldn't be to fight, it would be to freeze, to avoid making yourself a target. Similarly, hostages often try to disappear psychologically, to become less of a threat in the eyes of their captors. But there's more to it than just survival. Over time, a strange and complex psychological process called trauma bonding can occur. This happens when the hostage, trapped in a cycle of fear and occasional kindness, starts to develop an emotional dependence on the captor. Remember that blanket, that kind word? In the context of trauma, these small acts take on an exaggerated importance. They become lifelines in a sea of fear, creating a bond that defies logic. The hostage starts to associate the captor with feelings of relief and even gratitude, blurring the lines between victim and abuser. This is similar to what happens in abusive relationships. The abuser might be cruel and controlling, but they might also shower their partner with affection and gifts, particularly after an abusive episode. This creates a confusing and unhealthy emotional bond, making it difficult for the victim to leave. Beyond the headlines, Stockholm Syndrome in our lives. Now you might be thinking, Zakir, bye. I'm never going to be held hostage. This doesn't apply to me. But hold on, my friend. Stockholm Syndrome isn't just about dramatic headlines. It's about the ways we adapt to power imbalances and cope with trauma, even in our everyday lives. Think about it. Toxic workplaces, abusive relationships, even cults. These all involve power dynamics that can foster elements of Stockholm Syndrome. The employee who justifies their bullying boss, the partner who makes excuses for their abusive spouse, the cult member who defends their charismatic leader. These are all examples of how trauma bonding and cognitive dissonance can cloud our judgment. We've all experienced situations where we've felt powerless, where we've had to appease someone to feel safe. Stockholm Syndrome, in its essence, is a testament to the resilience of the human psyche, our ability to adapt and survive even in the most harrowing circumstances. But it also highlights the dark side of this adaptability, the ways in which our survival instincts can be manipulated and exploited. A question of perception. Stockholm Syndrome is a complex and often misunderstood phenomenon. It's not about weakness or stupidity, it's about the extraordinary lengths we go to survive trauma. It's about the ways our brains try to make sense of the senseless, to find a glimmer of hope in the darkest of places. So, the next time you hear about Stockholm Syndrome, don't judge the victims. Instead, ask yourself, how far would I go to survive? How would I react in the face of unimaginable fear? It's a question that makes you think, isn't it? And if you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more mind-blowing psychology videos.